But now I'm in a year where I signed a deal and, I really, really want to be good for the team. I want to be good for you guys. I want to win. It's time to win. We've lost 2 years in a row and kind of get a little calf injury early, before the year and ended up with an ankle injury, so I didn't feel like myself. And I think this is the longest like up and down period I've had. And I'm learning, I think, a ton. Like this is maybe the first period of adversity and learn a lot about myself. Kind of refocuses you in a way too. But I think I've learned so much just about like the rehab process, what people go through. And so this has been, it's been good for me.
Welcome back to another episode of The Old Man and the Three. I'm your host, Cam Johnson, joined today by co-host Tommy Alter and Denver Nugget, 23 NBA champ, 2022 NCAA champ, Christian Braun. Christian, thanks for joining us today.
Appreciate you having me, bro.
Of course, anytime.
This episode is brought to you by Claude from Anthropic. Great basketball minds see what others miss. Claude is the AI built for people who think deeper, whether you're breaking down your favorite play or building what's next. Try it free at claude.ai/oldmanandthe3.
Tommy, where do we start today?
I think we start with you guys both being troll sports fans.
CB, you grew up in Kansas. What part of Kansas?
I grew up in Burlington, Kansas, small town.
Outside of Kansas City?
Yep. And then I moved freshman year of high school. I moved to Overland Park, Kansas, so bigger city in Kansas City.
But not a Chiefs fan.
Not a Chiefs fan. I know we were just talking about it, but I was always opposite. Like my family, my mom, huge Missouri fan. All my mom's side of her family all went to Missouri. I wanted to be a Jayhawk. And then Chiefs, I just never was a Chiefs fan. Always liked Tom Brady and always just kind of wanted to do the opposite, I guess.
So when Brady and Mahomes were going at it, and all your friends are, I've been to those games. Everyone's tailgating, everyone's ducked in red. You're in there with the Brady jersey on?
I was 100%. Yeah, I think it was my first jersey too. LeBron jersey and a Tom Brady jersey too. So
big bandwagon guy.
Complete opposite of what everybody else.
You know his thing though, right?
Have we talked about it?
Bengals?
I'm a Bengals fan.
Oh, yeah,
not trying to be an asshole or anything. It just so happened that Chad Johnson played for them. I like Chad Johnson, became a Bengals fan. I said this story over and over and over again.
It's been a bad run for you guys.
Well, it's been a bad run since I became a fan, honestly. Like I became a fan probably in 03, 04. We've had some dark days, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't recommend just like choosing to be a Bengals fan.
But I mean, having Jamar Chase has got to be fun.
Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, like it's a fun era.
You still lose.
So your family, did everyone go to Mizzou?
My mom's side, yeah. My mom, uncles, they all played in Missouri. Aunt ran track, or a couple of aunts ran track. And my dad was the only person that was a KU guy. And so they all were a Missouri fan.
I know KU's got a crazy fan base, but like what's the breakdown? Sort of, is it like you cross the river? It's certain, like how does it break down?
Yeah, everybody in Kansas, basketball wise, is typically a Jayhawks fan. I mean, Kansas City, a lot of Jayhawks fans. I always tell people, I think people like after you graduate from Kansas, you move to Denver, you move to Chicago, you move to Dallas. Like those are the three places. So you'll find a lot of Kansas fans in those places. But basketball wise, there's no NBA team. So I think everybody is a Kansas basketball fan.
Where is Mizzou? How far is it from Kansas City?
Missouri's 2 hours from,
and Lawrence is what,
2 hours
40 minutes?
Or maybe a little more than that. Lawrence from Kansas City is 40 minutes.
I want to talk about you in high school a little bit, but when you committed, was there smoke? Was it like a...
You know what? Not really, because Missouri was never good. Like it was never a thing. So like when I got the Missouri offer, my brother was there, but like they kind of recruited me because they had to, it felt like. And then it was just never like, not one time in my mind was like, I want to go to Missouri.
Not once?
Not one time.
What did your mom have to say
I'd rather
about
go
this?
to Kansas State than go to Missouri. I probably shouldn't say that, but yeah.
What did your family have to say about this?
My mom would have told
side?
me, no, my mom would have been like, you're not going to Missouri. Like, she did not want me to go.
When did that Missouri offer roll in? And at what stage?
It was earlier. It was, all my offers were junior year Peach Jam. I didn't start. I didn't play the first four sessions.
So that's last Peach Jam.
Yeah, this is it. This is all I got. And we had a guy that he actually missed practice. And so I was kind of thrown in the starting lineup. I played like spot minutes.
Who was on that team? This is a Mocan?
It was me, all my friends that we grew up with. DeJuan Harris, point guard at Kansas. Malik Hall, Michigan State. Nafale Dante was at Oregon towards ACL. we had a couple other guys that were really good that played well. For Isaiah Mosley was really good in college for a while. Had some G League time, and then Dre Sorrells was on that team too. But there's a lot of guys that we grew up with, and then a couple guys that we had from some other places.
What did you do in that Peach Jam that kind of started pushing you over the top?
Yeah, like I said, we had a kid miss practice, and so the coach was like, "Hey, you're going to start." And then I just played really well.
He just missed practice?
Yeah, missed practice one time, and we had kind of like a coaching change, if that makes sense. So he was like,
"That's a crazy Wally Pipp."
It was crazy.
One practice,
and I was in. It was crazy, and then kind of from there, I think it was actually the session before I started a couple of games, and then Peach Jam started all the games. We played like Jaden McDaniels. So we had Jaden McDaniels as a big matchup.
They're Northwest. What is that? Seattle Rotary?
That is Rotary, yeah. And then Sam Williamson at the time was with Drive Nation. So we had a couple of big matchups on my position. And then I just played well in the Peach Jam. And then we had the Vegas tournament. What's it called? The Elite Eight or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I played really well in that against Cassius Stanley, who was getting recruited by Kansas at the time. And that's kind of where all my offers came from, was like those last two sessions. So everything else is mid-major.
So
real quick, a second Cassius Stanley shout out, back-to-back episodes.
True.
Because Pete said that
he was a truth though.
And baseball, he was a truth too.
He said we did that with Pete Crow Armstrong from the Cubs last week, and he was talking about Cassius.
Just a little nugget right there.
Yeah.
Back-to-back
Cassius. Yeah, I would have never known that, but yeah, he was.
Oh, he said he was elite too.
So, bro, you remember how athletic he was?
Extremely.
Oh my God. Like those Sierra Canyon rims, but.
No,
he was a freak though.
After that too,
he was a freak.
So what were your offers like? Who was recruiting you beforehand?
Before was all mid-majors. So my first offer was Loyola Chicago.
Yeah.
Clayton Custer and Ben
This
Richardson.
is right after their Final Four run?
Yes, because Clayton and Ben went to my high school.
Okay.
And so we went out there for a team camp because my coach was like, obviously those are his kids. And we went out there and I played well in the team camp and I ended up getting an offer or whatever, at the time. And that was the first one. And then it kind of stalled for a while. Like I didn't get much. And like I said, I wasn't playing a lot in the AAU stuff. So it was just nothing. And then I got to start in the Peach Jam, and that's when it kind of blew up.
Loyola Chicago was never considered at all. Did you think like...
Well, at the time, absolutely. I thought like Loyola was my school. I thought maybe this is the only thing I'm going to get. So of course it was considered. And then I just watched them go to the Final Four with, guys that went to my same high school. So I thought that was pretty cool. But no, I wanted to go higher, obviously. And I literally that summer I was waiting for Kansas. That's all I was doing. Like I knew I had all the Big 12 schools started to offer me, and I was like telling my parents, like, I'm just waiting for Kansas. And they finally called.
What years did your mom coach you?
My whole life, until she was my coach my whole life, like AAU period when I was in Burlington. So she coached everybody that my brother, I played up with my older brother, and she coached all of our teams.
I feel like we, like certain families, we've had guys on who've had this the case where it's like, I mean, your family's like this to a certain extent too. Everyone's so competitive. Mm-hmm. Was that like that in everything, like outside of basketball?
Yeah. I mean, they were always like that. Basketball was kind of like the big one for all of us. I mean, they were competitive in all sports. I wrestled growing up. Like my mom was like the wrestling mom. They recorded all that stuff.
So. Isn't wrestling season during basketball season?
I don't really remember, to be honest. But when you're a kid, you can do everything. Yeah. So I was doing a little bit of everything. I was wrestling. I was baseball, football, basketball. And then when I moved, obviously, I switched just to basketball. But my brother even played baseball a little bit in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
I wanted to senior year.
I wanted to pitch, but like if I didn't have to bat, I would play baseball for sure.
You didn't have to bat? What do you mean?
Well, I know, but that wasn't a thing. Like growing up, obviously, like it wasn't. I was batting, and people were.
Oh, in high school, you had to bat.
I think so, right?
Dude,
I had to. I know that. I was swinging.
What if you were a pitcher and like the craziest pinch runner? Like the dude.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, like just
a great pinch runner.
That's ideal. I think like pitching for me was like you were in the action, if that makes sense. Like
every play you're involved.
I hated like being in the outfield. I hated that, and in batting, I just hated when they started throwing pitches fast, curveballs. No. I'm ducking. I'm getting out of the way.
Just the closer, and then just bring him in to run, and just leave the arm alone.
Yeah.
So you were Mr. Basketball your senior year?
Yeah, my senior year, and that's kind of when I grew, obviously, and I was already committed, so I was kind of playing free and just having fun.
Were you? How much did you grow that year?
I mean, I was 5'8" my freshman year. I told you that.
Same.
Respect. Yeah, but I was 5'8".
Did you have any like hesitation about just like staying at home for school, like being so close to your friends and everything?
No. That was actually what I wanted. Like I wanted to be close to my family. But like I said, I've been in Kansas my whole life. So like I didn't want to go anywhere else. Like
Yeah.
I said, if it wasn't Kansas, it could have been Kansas State or, somewhere close. But I always want to be around my family. Like still to this day, we don't want to live in Kansas, and that's just kind of all I know.
Have you been? You played at Fog, right?
I've never played at Fog. I played my last college game ever was in Kansas City though, Sprint Center.
Who'd you lose to?
Auburn, dude. Oh,
you know what?
We'll get to it, but you're really I'd say fortunate, but maybe not, that's not the word, that you went out in college in the national championship. Like that must be a great feeling.
That's good.
Because the opposite, dude, is horrible. We got kind of blasted. Like they hit, I think they were 12 for 15 in the second half from three.
Weirdly, I don't want to say for sure, but I'm going to check after this. I think I was at that game.
Sweet 16 would have been mid-late March 2019.
I think I was at that game.
It was just a horrible loss. We had people that were sick. They were hitting threes and the game got away from us late in the game, and just a horrible memory to end college.
How's that feel though? You go out on a loss and it's just what? Look to the NBA, you don't get to...
No, that's it. That's exactly it. Like that's it, bro.
And that was your last year, right? Like
that was my last year. No, I was a 5th-year senior. Like that. And we were like you guys, we were a 1 seed. And we felt really good about our chances going in. And we lost a semifinal ACC tournament game to Duke at the buzzer. I mean, a game that we felt we should have won, but it was like any Carolina team that had won a national championship lost in the ACC semifinal. So we're like, we're destined for a national championship. And we felt our path was good. Kansas got whooped the game before against Auburn, I think.
Yeah, Auburn had a good run for sure.
So
who was on that Kansas team?
That was, what's his name? Lawson.
What year was it?
Lawson.
DJ?
Yeah, he was their number one. But they were up and down all year. They were a 4 seed. I would have much rather played that Kansas team the way Auburn was shooting. Auburn should have lost in the first round. New Mexico State blew it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's just how the tournament goes. Like, play it a bunch of times, maybe different outcomes, but it just hurts. That's it.
Do you feel like with Kansas, I'm kind of curious your perspective with Carolina as well, but with Kansas, obviously the personnel is going to be different. So it's going to be great players, but the personnel is going to be different. But when you look at all the good teams from at least like when you've been around, like there's a similarity in terms of like something they all have in common.
I mean, for a while with Kansas, they always had a good big man. I think that like coach was always throwing lobs. Like we always had a point guard that could throw a lob, and a big guy. And then in the last few years, we kind of got away from that, like the lob catching big. I mean, when Hunter was there, obviously he was still good in other ways, but we got away from that a little bit. But I thought when coach's teams were good, like they always had a big man that could catch a lob and a point guard that could throw one. But and we had that too. Like David McCormick for us was, kind of similar. And so I was used to in college playing with a big that could catch lobs and whatnot. But I don't know the similarity like year in and year out. Obviously you recruit different players, but I think Coach Self has like similar things that he goes to all the time. He still has the same sets that still work, and he just finds different ways to get to them.
What makes Self a good coach?
Oh man, I don't know if there's one thing, but I think that like the way he challenges players, the way he kind of pushes their buttons and finds who needs what and who needs to get them going, or how do we get these guys going? But like he's not going to change. I don't think for many people, he's going to be him. He's going to be honest with you. He's going to tell you the truth. But he knows how to get guys going. He knows what kind of like makes people tick. And I think that's probably, if I could pick one thing, it'd be that.
In the national championship game, when you guys came back, what was your like, did you kind of like black out at the time? Like were you cognizant of what was going on?
Not really. No, I don't have a very good memory of like the game itself. And I haven't like rewatched it, but I definitely think I blacked out at that point and just was kind of playing. And they always tell the story at halftime. Like all the guys were real positive. Ochai Agbaji, everybody knows, is like the most positive dude in the world. Dave McCormick, everybody was real like laid back. And one of our walk-ons came in. His name's Christian. He came in. He was ripping our ass. He was on our ass to walk on. And everybody's like, "Oh, we're fine. We're okay. We're good." It's 17 points, and I'm like, I don't think we're good, man. I don't think we're good. But I think I blacked out. We just kind of played. That's who we were, though. We were good like that.
Bro, that's like a movie.
It is. I mean, I was on the complete opposite side of it. As you know, my little brother was on that North Carolina team. Mm-hmm. I did feel a little bit anxious because I knew that team and I knew their propensity for, you know, they swung high, they swung low. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're a good team. Like, I feel like
they were
a good team. But like, what was their seed that year?
8. They struggled early. They kind of picked it up around this time.
They had guys though. I mean,
they had the players.
Armando goes down.
Ankle.
Brady Manick was always good for him.
Was Leaky in foul trouble that game, I think.
Something. Yeah, there was something. That's what I said. I really don't remember the game, like details of the game. Obviously, I'm the big moments and the big plays. Like, I remember that. But
big shots by Remy, right?
I remember Remy hit a couple huge ones, which he always did for us.
But you closed. I think the key to it was you started the second half strong and closed that gap. You know, if that stays at 15 for a couple more minutes, or even gets higher, it might be game over. But you guys closed single digits quick.
Yeah, we had a lot of like momentum shifters. Like, a couple guys get steal. DeJuan Harris gets a big steal,
and then you're right back in the game.
And then I was terrible in the first half. I was terrible. I played all 40 minutes, but I wasn't good in the first half. I got my shot blocked twice, I think, by Brady Manick. Is what it is. And then second half, we were all just like, it's your last game, you know. Like, we have to change it. We gotta do something. So
did you
nothing
know?
Else matters.
Did you know before? Like, were you leaving either way? Or was it, did that come afterwards?
In my mind, like, I was ready to go. I thought I did enough, you know, up until that point. I always tell a story, like, my dad, he's like the biggest KU guy you'll ever see. And he was like, you're not, because I played a game against, who did we play? Providence. It was Providence. And I only had like 7 points. My dad was like, hey, you know, first round draft picks don't score 7 points in the NCAA tournament. And I'm like, well, we won the game. I'm all happy and whatnot. But in my mind, I was ready to go. But I think my parents were a little skeptical because I was kind of on that fringe. You know, you don't want to be caught at that time, like late 30s, and now you're kind of on a two-way. And so I was on the fringe because I had another year. I could have came back and kind of had that team, you know, more to myself. But I thought I did enough and had a good run. You leave on a national championship. It's hard to go, you know, better than that.
So what pushed you over the edge into committing to staying in the draft?
I think just agent advice and, you know, talking to Duff and everybody in like the agency side of it, other than my family, was like, it's
guaranteed
time.
First round pick.
Yeah, you're good. You're going to make it. You just got to play well in these workouts. And so I was ready, but I mean, all the agent side told me I should go. So I didn't want to risk getting hurt or going back and, you know, season could go a different way.
I've always thought, like, if you feel like you're a guaranteed first round pick, go and capitalize on a momentum. Like, I mean, before, now with NIL, you know, it's a completely different landscape.
There's so much that can happen in a year.
There's so much that can happen.
Summer injury, like little things can set you back. And if you win a national championship, you have a chance to be a first round pick. Like, there's no,
bro.
To me, there's no justifying going back.
You're just walking off. You're like walking off into the sunset.
It doesn't get better than national championship.
Right.
So,
it does the next year.
Okay, so one of 5 players. That's the stat. That's kind of more than I expected.
One of 5 players in b-ball history to have NCAA and NBA back to back,
which was cool. It was a good moment for me.
Is it just like, man, this is easy?
Yeah, I mean, it probably felt like
every year.
Yeah, and then you get to do that, and you get to win in college, and then you get to go play with Yoke. And at that time, I'm really just a role guy. Like, I knew coming into the game, I probably had to play 18 good minutes of like hard defense and get a couple loose balls, and everything I do on offense at that time is a plus. You know, you hit a 3, you get a dunk, you know. So like, life was pretty easy at that time. But it was like I came in and all I had to do was get 20 hard minutes. You know.
What are some of the differences between a national championship run in college basketball and a run through the NBA playoffs and a finals championship?
I think the biggest one for me was like the relationships I built in college were like 3 years. Well, the point guard, DeJuan, obviously, I grew up with him since I was in like 6th grade. And then Jalen Wilson, I played with for 3 years. Ochai, I played with for 3 years. And known him since high school. It's like I had relationships with those guys for so long. And, you know, we've been working for that moment, you know, for so long that felt really good. The Kansas community, all the fans, like everybody I knew, we've been Kansas fans our whole life. So that was really cool. Like when people ask me, I don't really know which one's better. But then you go to the NBA and you get to see guys like I come in my first year. And I mean, we're probably one of the favorites, but we play well. We get to that moment. And I didn't realize like DeAndre Jordan had worked 15 years or whatever it was for this, you know. I get to come in year 1 and I get to play, I get to contribute, and I get to win. So I was pretty fortunate, pretty blessed, but that's the biggest difference is like I grew those relationships in college from when I was super young and I had been camping out for Kansas games for so long. And then I come to the NBA and I don't know these guys. Like I don't know them as well. I mean, obviously had a good relationship. Those guys were really good to me throughout the year, but I didn't know them. I didn't know their families as well. But obviously it's the NBA, so it's still really fun. But the college one was crazy because I knew those guys for so long.
But I think that's like still kind of a key difference between a college and an NBA championship is that, like, I don't know, maybe the gratification of a college one and just the roots of it, the fandom of it. Just you only have a certain window to get it. These are guys that you go to class with, you practice with every day, you know them so well.
Live with. I think that's a big difference too. Like, you're in the room with them, you're living with them
all the time.
You're eating at the same places. And it was COVID at the time. We're locked in the same room. You know, I'm with these guys all the time. We go out together. We go to class together. We we go out together and we live together and we practice together. But no, I mean, like, I grew that relationship, and those guys I was so close with. I think it's hard to top that moment, you know?
Yeah.
And then I go the next year I get to top it, you know, with the NBA championship. So it was an amazing 2 years for me.
This episode is brought to you by Claude from Anthropic. The best basketball minds see the game differently. They read what's about to happen before it does. They understand why something worked beyond what shows up on the box score. That kind of thinking matters everywhere. Whether you're breaking down film, building a business, or working through complex decisions, you need tools to help you see what you'd otherwise miss. Claude is built for that. It's an AI thinking partner that digs deeper with you. Ask the questions that sharpen your analysis and surface patterns that you almost overlooked. It doesn't just hand you answers, it helps you think through it. Anthropic built Claude to be genuinely useful. No ads, no engagement tricks, just a partner for people who take their preparation seriously, on the court and off. Try it free at claude.ai/oldmaninthe3 and see why the world's best problem solvers choose Claude as their thinking partner. If you guys are a GM, and, you know, take sort of like a top 5 pick out of it, but you're somewhere in the, you know, where you guys sort of went, the 15 to 35 range or whatever it is, does not necessarily winning a national championship, because like you mentioned, there's so many sort of, you know, the ball is bounced a certain way, but like, does winning in college, do you feel like that is transferable to the skills you would need in terms of winning in the NBA?
I think, to me, it depends. Like, the situation, it depends. Like, what role did you play on the winning team? What did you sacrifice maybe to win? Like, you got to look at certain situations. But I think for sure, I think if a guy's like track record's all winning and he produces at every level, it's like the Cam Boozer thing. Like, the guy wins at every level. He produces every court he steps on. Like, you can tell he has fun winning. You can tell his teammates like him. Like, I 100% buy into that.
There are exceptions. I mean, Ant Edwards did not win in college.
But that's like a generational talent.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's like, you know what I mean? I think overall, yes, winning is winning, but there are some other factors. I think for generational talents, or for guys that can become that, like where you see the pieces in place, the talent in place, for that to be the next step. Like, Cade Cunningham didn't have to win in college for everybody to know what he could be. But for maybe a guy like me or a guy like CB, like, winning strengthened our cases. GMs used to ask me all the time in the draft process, like, do you think you'd be in this position if you stayed at Pitt? And I was like, no. And they disagreed a lot of the time. And I was like, no, because the stage in which I was given on good teams and then showing how I can complement other good players, you know, being a movement shooter, playing the right way, doing the right things, I think did nothing but help me in my draft stock.
That's kind of what I was saying, like sacrificing, because I know in my situation, like, you could look at the way I played at Kansas and know that when I come to the NBA, like, I was scoring at Kansas, we didn't call plays for me, not one time. Like, it wasn't even a thing. I didn't expect it. You know, I didn't expect it when I got to the NBA. So if you can look at that, like, okay, well, he finds this way to contribute to winning in college, that 100% will transfer, you know, like, it'll translate to the NBA 100%. So I think certain situations, like my situation, you could watch like the things I had to do for Kansas to get on the court and kind of like the journey to get there, you know, and it 100% would translate. It's pretty easy to see. I completely agree.
Do you feel like, I mean, like a couple sort of specific examples I would give in the NBA now, you know, I feel like Cam Spencer's probably in this boat. You know, I think Colin Gillespie's in this boat. There's guys from these teams that won a lot in college, were probably undervalued, either when undrafted or at the bottom of the draft. But like you sort of mentioned, just they knew how to fit whatever role was sort of asked of them. Do you feel like when you're seeing younger players now? Obviously, people can grow and they can change. So you don't want to be like, you're this way, you're rookie, you're always going to be that way. But do you feel like you can sort of tell pretty quickly if guys have the sort of thing you're talking about of just being like, we can come in and do whatever is asked and really not, try to do more than that?
Yeah, I think it's hard to instill though. Like you build habits, obviously. Like you said, there's certain cases that are no matter what, Anthony Edwards and Kate Cunningham are going to be stars. You know that. But I think if you watch certain people, like you can see that, like the intangibles, like the little things, and like do they enjoy playing? Do people enjoy playing with them? That stuff you can all see with your eyes, in my opinion. So like some of those guys, I think that get overlooked. Maybe you overthink it, but there is guys. Colin Gillespie's a perfect example. Like that dude has been able to play. AJ Green's another one I always thought of. Like that dude has played well at every single level. He's been good when he was in AAU. He was good in college. Like those guys, you can see that it's going to fit. It's going to like the way they play, how hard they play. I think.
I thought Castle was like that. I mean, not to like relitigate these things, but
how much did he sacrifice for UConn? Like
that's what I mean. Also, you win a national championship playing like that. It feels like overthinking is the right word, where it's like sometimes you just are like everything example. He's doing is not surprising in the slightest.
Colin Gillespie's a perfect example of like overthinking. Like that kid, like when he was playing with us was really good. He was really good in college. Like he plays well at every level. He shoots it well at every level. I think you just overthink it. Like maybe he's too small. Maybe and I guess injuries too. But
yeah, I mean, and a lot of it too is you look at like habits, work habits, attention to detail, how they impact the game. I do think it's overlooked way too much in our league for maybe other traits or things that people, you know what I mean, maybe seen as more upside. But like I think Castle's a really good, pretty high-end example of somebody who has consistently been winning and willing to sacrifice in order to win, with like a lot of ceiling to him also.
You mentioned the sort of the brotherhood thing with college, and we've talked about this with Puff for example, for a while, how different the NCAA is now, even from when you guys were in it. Do you worry at all that like with everything going on, and obviously, Pearson has his own thing, which is a specific sort of situation, but just not even that as much as like broadly speaking, the idea that like it is so much more of a business now is going to change that dynamic where you don't have the opportunity to basically like grow with your teammates?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it is so different, 100%. It's definitely different. I worry more about like the kid. Like I worry more about the college kid that has all the money and like the work ethic. Does it go away or does it stay? Or, maybe sometimes you get it and it makes you want it more. Sometimes you get it and it makes you relax. And I think I've seen, obviously I'm not gonna name names, but I've seen examples like over the past few years where it seems like maybe that kid relaxed or the player like just kind of took I don't know how to explain that, but I just worry more about the player, slowing down his work ethic or changing because he has money and it makes you feel like you've already arrived in a sense. That's more what I worry about.
Do you think the same player that gets money in college and relaxes would be the same player that gets the NBA and does the same thing? Do you think in some sense it weeds out that kind of player earlier than by the time they make it to the NBA?
It could probably show your true colors for sure. I think so.
That's interesting.
That's what I always thought.
Think about
maybe
that.
It could show the real you, and maybe you don't make it to where you're supposed to go anyways.
Right. But like if you got drafted top 15, got the $20 million contract over your first 4 years, and then if you got $3 million NIL and just relaxed and care, I'm cool, I'm paid, I'm good, whatever. Like, is it the same thing? You know what I mean? Is somebody who works through, okay, I made $2 million in NIL. Okay, I made $1 million in NIL, but I still work on my game. I still have the hunger. I want it more. I want it more. I want it more. Is that the guy who gets to the league and still has that mindset? That's what I always thought. It's like it kind of just weeds that specific type of person out.
I think so too, but that's why I worry about like the player, because if you get there, it's one thing if you get there and you get drafted, whatever, top 15, and you sign the $15 million deal.
Yeah.
You sign the $15 million deal, you have the $15 million. Like that I don't worry about. It's like the kid that gets he thinks that $700,000 or $800,000 is a ton of money at the time, which it is. Don't get me wrong. But then he doesn't get to the $10 million he was supposed to get to in the next year, and then now you're $800,000, you're back in the transfer portal.
Yeah, and to play, and I like to look at it on both sides of the coin. Like, you're getting to that money a little bit younger, just a little bit younger. And one of the most important things in college is developing that kind of humble work ethic. Like, I had zero NIL when I was in school. I didn't have any money.
I was
period.
just about to say that.
I was in grad school, so like as a player in grad school, my check was just slightly bigger than everybody else's, just because maybe the rule was grad students have a little bit more things to pay for. I don't know. So like, I felt like I was like, yeah, I'm getting to it. My checks were like probably under $3,000 a month. You know what I mean? And that's to
how
us,
much when you got that? Did that not feel like a ton of money?
That felt like,
I was just about to say that because I know when I got my $700 a month.
That's what I'm saying.
I thought that felt like so much money at the time. I can only imagine. I mean, you have nothing to pay for. You get a free car. Like,
you don't. That's what I'm saying. So
I can only imagine what it feels like.
It's
now.
It's not like I'm flat broke, but like I don't like I can't like live the rest of my life off this money. Yeah. So like I don't know, just the kind of work ethic is just like the culture of college basketball. I think this is what people get really upset about when they criticize college basketball. I think this is kind of the root of it, is kind of that just like humility. It's bigger than me. It's, you know what I mean? I have aspirations, of course, to make a lot of money playing the game, but right now, like I love my teammates and I love to win, and you know what I mean? I love my program, and it feels like that's kind of where NIL takes the game away from.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like you just said, that like I think it does take away from like I went to Kansas because I loved Kansas,
Not
like somebody comes to Kansas because they love the fans, or they love that when they came, the game was crazy. Like you go and you take pride. I tweeted this last year, obviously, but like you take pride in the uniform you put on. Like it meant something to me, or it meant something to whoever else. Like I think that nowadays, like you don't have that anymore, which I think the college game it's been fun to watch this year, but
it's been great hoops too.
Yeah, it has. It's been good, but I still think that like sense of like pride in wearing the Kansas uniform like that I had, I don't know if that'll be there in the future, just because, for money, which I don't blame any of them for doing either. It's there, it's available. So
it's interesting. The weeding out thing is really interesting. I feel like I think that makes everything you said makes total sense. And I think that makes a lot of sense as well. I think the one obviously distinction that I would draw between the league and college is just because the scale of options and the scale of movement, because there's no regulation basically. And you can have like, what'd you average your freshman year at Kansas? Like 5 points. Yeah. So it's like, in theory, I don't know if this would happen with your family, but in theory, you could have had 90 people around you be like, yo, you should be doing this. You should be doing this. Go to New Mexico State. Did it all of a sudden?
I went through that for sure. 100% went through that.
And you end up in Europe because it was basically like, you don't get the chance to have a national championship game, because also remember, it's like you're 18 years old, 19 years old. You're not exactly like in a position to make every single right decision on what you should be.
You don't really know. Like that's the thing, that when I did have NIL my last year.
Just the last one, right?
It was the first year of NIL.
It was like you do a little deal with the burger joint down the road, and they pay you $5,000,
yes,
which at the time is huge.
And you had to show up and do whatever for whatever an hour or whatever it was, and you got your $10,000 or $5,000.
Collective paying you $1 million check.
But I can tell you that I probably got, which I'm very grateful, obviously, for every dollar that I got, but I had like probably made like $60,000 or something total, and you couldn't tell me shit. You couldn't tell me shit. So I could imagine like walking around like I had $60,000, and that's what I made it the whole year, and we won a national championship. And you couldn't. No, I probably walked around campus like an asshole. I'm sure I did.
You would have if this was 3 years later. Though
at the time, $60,000 in college sounds unreal.
That's what I'm saying. I felt like I had the most money in the world.
Unreal.
Now I can imagine if you gave me $1 million when I was in Lawrence, I wouldn't have made it to the NBA. I guarantee it. No doubt in my mind, I would have made it.
So that's the other side of the coin that I was talking about, is like you learned how to work, you learned hunger, you learned what it takes to get to where you want to go. And now you sustain that rather than getting it just a little bit too early.
Yeah.
It's an interesting point though. I mean, I do not think NIL is a bad thing at all.
No.
And I think it was completely necessary. We've heard, like, I can go on and on and on about the NCAA all day long. And anything like this, players deserve to be paid. I do think there needs to be stronger framework around it and a little bit more control around it. But overall, man,
I think that's everybody's outlook, Like, I think everybody's like has a consensus. That's the exact, like,
it should be.
There just needs to be more rules. It needs to be more strict. I don't know that a kid needs $5 million in Lawrence, Kansas.
What would you do with $5 million in Lawrence, Kansas?
That's what I'm saying. I just told you.
What would you do? Like what? Like it's
like literally, what would you do?
You buy a car. You buy your mom a house.
Get a free car.
Okay, so you buy your mom a house. I don't know. You go to
mom can wait.
What? What? Like, what are you doing with $5 million in Lawrence,
That's
Kansas?
what I'm saying. I don't know. Nothing good. There's nothing good that can come from that. That's kind of my point.
Do some crazy side quests. Buy like a bowling alley.
I don't know what I would have done with $100,000 in Chapel Hill.
I can tell you what I did with 60 in Lawrence. I can tell you that. I had a good time.
Had to have been there.
Had a good time.
It
was a good time in Lawrence for sure.
What was draft night like?
Draft night was good. I think coming in, we had a good idea of where we were going. So like that was like a big thing for me too, because I like to know. I get a little stressed, but I kind of had an idea of, what was going to happen. And Denver obviously had 2 picks. So planned to go to New York and took my family and my friends out there. It was fun. We had a good experience. It all went smoothly. I mean, obviously my draft position couldn't end up, better than what it was. So draft night was great.
Before playing with Yoke, but just like watching him, knowing who he was, did you kind of know? We talked about this even when he got traded. We talked to Tim about it too. Like, did you know what you were walking yourself into from I
thought I maybe did a little bit, but no.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to really, you see it. And there is a tweet, draft night, there was a resurfaced tweet that I tweeted that he was the best center in the NBA before I got drafted. So that was pretty cool. So I obviously knew how good he was. But then you see him in person and up close, and it's like, it's hard to put into words like how good he really is. And then the work ethic thing, like his work ethic's on a whole different planet than anybody else. And I thought like when I got there, I had the reputation of like, oh, he's a hard worker or whatever. And that dude like ran circles around my work ethic, So, and then he makes you, take it up another notch. You want to play well when you're in the game with him, that pressure. And so he's ridiculous.
We were talking about this with somebody the other day about the floaters, about just how automatic the floaters are. But what do you feel like your guys' sort of chemistry, you're cutting with everything about how you guys play together is so precise, and that obviously comes with time and comes with reps. But do you feel like there's something, if you were to try to put into words about just like the instincts, how you develop those instincts with him, is there something that you feel like it is vision? Like what about how you guys are able to work together is so effective?
Well, I think for me, obviously it was time and reps. I mean, first year, not as much minutes with them. And then as I play with them more, I was literally just cutting and trying to find open space and literally just trying to help him get open. If I could screen him well, if I could cut on the rim, like whatever it was, just try to help him out. That was like my mindset going. It's like, how can I help him? And then I honestly like watching Bruce championship, watching how Bruce played off of him, watching how KCP defended and kind of played off of him. And then literally just understanding if I could just give him the ball, if I can bring the ball up the court, I can give it to him. Like he makes good things happen. So, I mean, he makes everything really easy.
When do you think the light bulb really went off for you? Like, okay, this is how I'm going to be really successful playing alongside him.
I think, like I said, I watched KCP and Bruce for a couple of years. And then that summer kind of knew the situation I was walking into. Like I understood that.
Going to your second year or going into
my third year. Yeah.
Okay.
I think going into that year, I understood that KCP likely, wasn't going to be back and that was going to be my chance to go be a starter. And so I've worked with Ogie, obviously, who they work together. So Ogie's all constantly giving me, do this. This is what he wants you to do. This is how he wants you to play. And then developing a relationship with him off the court obviously helps too. You get to talk to him more and whatnot. So knowing that I was going to be playing with him, I had a chance to start and, play a lot of minutes with a guy like that. Like I just knew I needed to be ready. And I think I did a good job that summer preparing myself and just putting myself in the right positions. And like I said, he kind of just puts it in your hand. I mean, obviously, at this point. So you just got to be ready, put yourself in the right spots, and then he'll find you.
Did you have your first year, maybe your first couple of months, we talk about like the welcome to the NBA moments, but was it really more of like, I'm almost more interested in like a wow moment. Like it didn't have to happen to you, but just a thing where you're on the court and you were just like, yeah, bro, I don't care if I won a national championship in college. Like this is different.
I mean, I think for me, like I was a big NBA fan growing up. So I had a ton of them. Like even just sometimes you walk into an arena and it's like, wow, this is crazy. I'm about to play at Boston, against Jason Tatum and this guy, all these guys you grew up watching. So I had a ton of them, but none specific, that I remember. Obviously you get to play against Braun, who you guys know is my favorite player growing up, getting to play against him multiple times, getting to guard him. I got a picture of me guarding him. That was probably my first wow moment. I would say I had a welcome to the NBA moment from Donovan Mitchell, actually. I subbed in. This is my rookie year. Subbed in. Coach Malone's like, CB, get in the game. This is early. And I'm like, all right, it's like 8 seconds on the clock. He comes down, pulls me up, switch, throws this little left elbow that he throws, finish and one, pulls me out of the game, didn't get back in. So like that was my first like, damn, I need to turn it up a notch. That was my first moment.
Yours is better than mine, bro. I'll tell you. At least you got put out of your misery because James Harden, Houston, had
it was bad.
Had my brain scrambled early in the season. You know what I mean? And they're trying to tell you this is Houston Harden.
Oh yeah,
I can't get too close, can't back up too far, can't
reach.
touch them, don't reach.
Yeah.
And so I'm hearing all these things from the coaching staff.
Your mind is just screaming.
And I'm just like, well, the funniest part about it is Mikal Bridges comes up to me. And Mikal and I, obviously, as everybody here knows, were really close throughout. And we could always kind of go to each other with just what we were going through. So maybe the coaches told him to go up to me and say something because he could talk to me in that moment, or he just wouldn't do it on his own. But he just came up to me at halftime, put his hand on my shoulder. He's like, "It's okay, bud."
Yeah, he was doing it to everybody at the time, wasn't he? So
they were like, "Keep your feet still, move your feet, force them left, force them right." You know what I mean? It's just like he's just like
you got to pick one with him, don't you? Like especially at that time. I'm sure at that time.
Yeah.
The
second half didn't go as bad for me, but the first half, I think it was 12 straight, maybe 11 straight. It was a tough one. So I completely get where you're coming from with that.
Yeah. No, it was a bad moment because you hear the buzzer and obviously it was defense offense. So Michael Porter's coming back in for offense, which I know that, but I'm hoping I get a stop and we run out and we score. Maybe I get a little chance in the second quarter. I didn't want to look at the scores table. It was and one. And I heard a buzz and then I heard Mike say my name. I'm like,
that would be me.
I had to walk to the bench.
You know what? The thing you said about the arenas, I resonate with. I think one of the coolest things about having the opportunity, whether it's college, NBA, whatever, to just play in so many environments like we do and playing them so often, you get very, you know what I mean? You know the locker room, you know where the bench is, you know what the view's like on the court, you know what the view's like from the sideline, whatever. I think one of the coolest things for me in the whole experience is no matter what NBA game I'm watching, a lot of the college games I'm watching, like I can literally put myself on the court. You know what I mean? Like I know the surrounding environment. I know, where the scoreboards are and where the lights are and all those things. And I think to me, that's one of the coolest things about being in the league.
I kind of I was never the dude that like, I don't think like the wow moment is kind of hard for me because I think that's kind of how those 2 years went. Literally, it was like I just was kind of doing things that I never thought I would be able to do. And that was kind of me. I never thought I was going to the NBA. Let's just call it what it is. Never in my life, not one time. Until it happened. My junior year, it was like, okay, maybe this is going to happen. The next month we win a title. And now the next month after that, I'm getting drafted. And things just kept happening and happening. So like, I think those 2 years of my life were just literally just me kind of living and cool things were happening to me. So I don't know how to explain it, but that's not really how I was looking at it. It was literally just cool thing after cool thing. And I got to play basketball while I was doing it. So I was having fun, I think.
Cool things with the pros. I mean, what's better?
It's wild just waking up and like I'm in the finals.
Yeah, right. That's kind of what it was for me though. Like, and my job in the finals wasn't like it was too stressful. Like
you did it well. Like you impacted the game.
I appreciate that. But I just literally was just all I had to do. I literally knew in my mind like it wasn't that much pressure for me because I literally was like I need to come out here and I need to play really good defense on whoever I'm guarding, and I need to make a layup when they throw it to me. And if I make a three, that's an even bigger plus, especially my first year. So it was a fun run.
From the outside looking in, I went to a couple of those games in Denver. The whole finals seemed unstressful. Like it just sort of seemed like
they did from a viewer's perspective.
It seemed compared to most years.
Yeah, how was it watching? I mean, no disrespect for that team. Obviously, they made it, to the finals. That's not easy. And Jimmy went on a crazy run, but like everybody on our team would tell you. And I think KCP said on his pod, like whenever they beat Boston, like everybody on our team was probably like, we got a really, really good chance here to win. I remember where I was at whenever they won the game. I was Del Frisco's with my family. We were eating. They win the game. We're in this little back room. They won the game. I'm like, I think even my friends are standing up clapping. Like,
where's the room for 2 weeks?
Yeah, this is awesome.
Nah, I mean, no disrespect to Miami at all. And to make it to that point, I mean, that series, that Eastern Conference Finals was a hell of a series, but it just looked stress-free.
Yeah, we even gave they won it, but we kind of gave them a game. It felt like even when we lost, we lost at home, and it was still like
Plus 2, right? Game 2.
Yep, game 2, and then it just still everybody was kind of felt like we were gonna win, like we were really confident in that series. And
was there a series? I'm just trying to remember the series before that one. Was there a series earlier on in the playoffs that I would say this because they've said it. I mean, they said it to me earlier today. The OKC guys, and they had a great finals run, but they look at like your series with them last year as like yours was Phoenix.
Phoenix. I mean, because Minnesota, we beat them 5, and I mean they're a good team. They had no Jaden, no Nas. Huh?
Was LA a sweep?
LA was a sweep. Yeah. So we swept them. I didn't play as much in that series. I played like spot minutes, barely played in that series. But Phoenix series, I played a lot. But they took us to 6, and they kind of found a way. They were it was with CP3. We had to end up forcing him right, or forcing him like not to shoot right, but they were skipping it, and KD was in the corner, and Book was kind of catching and going. It was like they were really hard to guard for a couple of games. I think we lost, and Jokic had 50 in that series or something like that.
But you also won when KD and Book went nuclear.
Went crazy. Yeah, I mean it was hard. That when they beat us, it was like a Book would have
50,
something
KD would
on
have
20,
50.
but Book would have whatever 40, but he would go 18 for 24 or like 18 for 22. That's when we would get beat. If we could hold KD to like 11 for 29, those were the games we were winning. It was hard because Book, one game, I think Book went like 19 for 23 and had whatever he had. But that was the series for us. I know the OKC talked about us, last year. I think that was kind of similar for us.
You sort of talked earlier about kind of learning how to find your role and figuring out your role sort of in real time, and how that was able to kind of provide you with like success so fast. With Coach Malone in general, he just was like not known for playing young guys.
Yeah.
And so was there a particular thing for you was there a thing that you feel like, was it just defensively? Was it crashing the boards? Was there something that you did that you were like, this is how I'm gonna kind of earn my, even if it is 8 minutes, 9 minutes, earn my minutes?
Yeah, I think like you said, I think Coach Mo obviously wasn't known for that. But I thank him all the time just because he did give me a lot of opportunity. He played me in the finals a ton, and it was literally defense, like hustle, defense, who's going to be tough enough to do, little things. That's who Coach Mo is. Like, he wasn't really fixated on my offense. Obviously, he wants guys that could hit shots and, do both. But like at the time, he would put me in, and he would literally tell me like, hey, guard the best player, get loose balls, and that kind of like fired him up. And so I kind of knew that early. When he would put me in would be a time where we need to stop or something like that. So I knew that early, and those things get him really fired up. He had his little defense player of the game thing, and I would win 1 or 2 of those early, like doing simple things like I took a charge, take a charge, get a loose ball, you win the defensive player of the game, And so kind of figured out with Coach Mo what he was looking for early. And then obviously our relationship from there grew, and he put a lot of trust in me in big moments.
What did you learn playing with Russ?
Oh man. Talk about like a relentless work ethic. Like that's probably the biggest thing. I think for me with Russ early on, obviously there's pressure playing with Russ, the same pressure playing with Yoke, I watched him growing up, obviously, because he was in OKC. And then getting to know him up close and watching him work. And then in a sense, I tell people, my family this too, and I think I've told Russ this, but like playing with Russ, especially when I was starting and Russ was 6-man, like I knew every single day, every single game, if I didn't bring it, there's a chance, Coach Mo would play Russ, and Russ would close the game, and I knew that. And so like that really like pushed me every night. And like I said, I didn't want to miss games, because if you miss a game and Russ slides in, there's a really good chance he has a triple-double and you don't get your spot back. So I'm out there like, I need to play tonight, And so I definitely thank Russ for even just having Russ behind you. It's pushing you. You got to be your best, because no matter what, every single night Russ is going to be no matter what.
He's going to bring it.
And that's what I love about Russ. So he obviously is another big part of my career indirectly. And I don't even know if he knows that, but indirectly, Russ helped me out a lot last year.
We've talked a bunch about, the injuries this year, and your guys' sort of ability to withstand them. With some of the younger guys, like obviously, KJ last night, Julian's been great. Spence has been great. Like it's truly like sort of like a next man up mentality. Your health aside, and it's it's getting there now? Like, is there something you've enjoyed about this process with some of the younger group of being able to find these contributors from all over the place?
Yeah, I think it's cool to watch, like even sitting out for a little bit, just seeing guys, because I think a lot of guys can fit with Nikola, and it is pressure to play with them. But I think we had so many guys step up in that run where, we were out and play really well. But it's just interesting, like we all kind of went through that. I went through the phase of trying to get on the court and trying to stay on the court and trying to get consistent minutes. It's hard when some guys are in and out. Some guys play really well and then you don't get a chance the next night. But that's just the NBA. To me, I think better, but like that's the NBA. Like sometimes you get a shot and you play well and you might not even play the next night. I just think we have a bunch of young dudes that come in and play well when they have their opportunity. KJ is a perfect example. He comes in and has been with us for how long? A couple of weeks or whatever it was.
Couple weeks.
A week? Was it a week?
KJ?
Yeah.
Couple days?
A couple of days, whatever it was.
What is he at now? A week? He's probably at a week right now.
Okay, a week. Yeah, whatever it was. I mean, he comes in and he has 4 assists and he changes the game for us and plays really well. So
yeah, right after All-Star, it was his first day. So he's been with us for a week.
Okay, well, he's been with us a couple of days, but it is cool to see like all the young guys play well. And I'm still a young guy and I'm still learning too. So that's a cool part. I can kind of help them, or maybe, even if they're looking for that, I can kind of give them my experience in a way because I've been here for so long, it seems like. So.
What have you learned from a macro overall season perspective on just personally, like managing the ups and downs of the league, managing the day-to-day, the just the highs and the lows of it?
I think this year is my biggest test, no doubt. Like, and I said this too, in the past years, I don't know that I have had ups and downs playing. Obviously, you have good games, you have bad games, but I haven't had a stretch of down like very often. Like it's been pretty easy for me. Like I play every night. I haven't had the situation, where I'm not playing or I can't figure out why I'm not in the game. Like I played every night. Coaches have given me opportunities every night. GMs have put me in really good spots, so I can't really complain. And then, I haven't had injuries. I've played pretty much every game, of my whole career, from high school on. And, now I'm in a year where I signed a deal and, I really, really want to be good for the team. I want to be good for you guys. I want to win. It's time to win. We lost 2 years in a row and kind of get a little calf injury early, before the year and ended up with an ankle injury, so I didn't feel like myself. And I think this is the longest like up and down period I've had. And I'm learning, I think, a ton. Like this is maybe the first period of adversity and learn a lot about myself. Kind of refocuses you in a way too. But I think I've learned so much just about like the rehab process, what people go through. And so it's been good for me. Like at first I'm like, man, why me? Why my ankle? But I've had such good, good luck, good fortune with injuries and good my career. I think that it's good for me to learn. Adversity is good for me. And I think it's refocused me in a way. So, hopefully going forward, I, stay healthy. So
what do you feel like you learn, not even just on the injury standpoint, but in terms of pacing yourself? Where it's like, I mean, we're taping this in OKC, you're playing them tomorrow night. You have these big games, the game the other night was a big game. So it's not like you're going to have these moments where you're going to be really getting up for these games. But at the same point, it's an 82 game season and you need to take care of yourself because you both know sort of what's required in the playoffs. And so how do you manage that part of it on a physical level and then also a mental level?
I think it's one aspect of it is experience. So I don't know if you feel the same way, but there's something they call a rookie wall where, I thought I was 23 years old as a rookie. I'd been playing for a long time. I was like, I'm not going to hit the rookie wall. Like I know what I'm getting myself in. Boom. It's usually mid-January. And I just felt like my brain was melting out of my ears. Like I just, you know what I mean? Just every day was like a daze for like a week. You're just tired. And then you realize like, okay, like we still got 45 games left. You know what I mean? Just that experience, just learning how to manage game, no game, that rhythm, some back-to-backs thrown in, then some 2-day breaks thrown in, how to manage your body, how to try to, feel your best night in and night out, is something that probably every individual learns just through doing it. And then the other half I'd say is like from the mental side, like I think an underrated part of it is just like finding the joy in it. Finding the joy when you step on the court. Like I get to play, you know what I mean, in a big game, a national televised game, an important game for my team, whatever it may be, like I get this opportunity. I get the opportunity to play in the league. Like when you keep that in mind, that really goes a long way in kind of like allowing yourself to be in the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, like you said, I think the biggest thing is sometimes you're going to have games where it's like, feels like I just played 4 games and everything kind of is going together. I don't know what day of the week it is in a way. And I don't know. I don't really have a good like way I was never good at pacing myself. That was never really my thing. I wanted to play every night. Like that was always my goal. So I'm still learning that. Like I said, I think it's weird. I've been in the league for 4 years, but I feel so young and like I feel like I still have so much to learn. And this year's been a big learning curve for me too. So especially with rest, like for me, resting and, is my ankle okay to play today? Is this, like my rookie year, it didn't matter if things lined up. I needed to produce, I needed to be ready. But now it's like I need to be ready for the playoffs. So,
but the reality is, you're never, rarely ever are you 100% going into a game. Like you really probably operate around an average of like 85 on most of your good days. Whereas like you dealing with this, dealing with that, but like learning how to kind of maximize your own personal talents and abilities when you're just a little bit under that sub 100 and learning how to contribute even on that day where you're feeling 70%, you know what I mean? I think is also a really underrated part of just finding success in the league.
Do you feel like, so you only know one perspective on this NBA wise, you now know a few from just, being in different places. One of the things that's probably helpful, beneficial with this team, and I just have seen this kind of being around a little bit, is like just a bunch of kind of like chill dudes. You know what I mean? So the amazing talents, obviously, best player in the world, it's a championship level roster talent wise, but it's also like a bunch of just sort of like kind of low key good people. And that makes it a little more helpful.
I think for our roster, we've always had like a good group. I mean, I haven't been a part of like a bad team yet or like bad personalities. Like everybody's a little different, in the league. Everybody kind of has their things that they do. And you find like, I think a hobby is a big thing too. Like my first few years, everybody's telling me like find a hobby. Like all I did was go play, practice, and then I would go watch NBA all night, and they're like, find a hobby. I just think that like there's just dudes do different things and find a different way to escape and, get away from the game. But yeah, I feel like we've never had any personality issues. Like Denver's never had that problem. So
no, I mean, I've been pretty lucky too that a lot of teams I've been on have just had really good people. But yeah, I think the one thing about this team that we have now is that it's a more veteran team overall, an older team compared to a lot of other teams in the NBA. So that does mean, yeah, guys have their own families and stuff and this and that, but it means guys are really self-sufficient and capable of handling themselves and capable of working through their things and, being very professional about it. CB, man, thank you for joining us today, bro. I've enjoyed kind of learning about Denver, being a part of the team and everything, and kind of understanding what makes them tick. And I think from an early on, I seen kind of the mark that you made on the franchise and on this team and what you mean to us from a lot of standpoints, from a locker room standpoint, from an on-the-court standpoint. So I appreciate you as a teammate, and I appreciate you joining us today.
Appreciate you guys having me. I had fun today.
And that's it. Another episode of The Old Man and the Three. Cam Johnson, joined by Tommy Alter and CB.
There we go. We finally got it done.